Hi folks, and welcome back to another Travels with Red Rover. I'm Sean.
And I'm Corrine.
And where are we on this beautiful evening?
We are at the Toadstool Hoodoos Trail near Kanab, Utah.
And we're
Kanab, Utah. You have to pronounce it the right way.
And we're heading out to do a little bit of sunset and some night photography.
If the weather cooperates.
Yeah, we are fighting some clouds right at the moment, so we'll have to see if it clears up. Hopefully it will for the evening.
Much of the walk going out to the Toadstool Hoodoos follows along a wash. And it's pretty easy surface, a little bit sandy, but not too deep. And occasionally we'll pop out of the wash, go over a little rise, and then fall back down into the wash.
The trail is pretty clearly marked with these little white markers and arrows. Occasionally you'll find secondary trails have been created. And of course, once you arrive, the view is absolutely beautiful. Especially if you get there in a late afternoon when the sun is just lighting up the very end of the toadstools. And hiding down there behind that hoodoo is our really good friend Mary, who's come out to shoot with us tonight. Hi, Mary. Mary's one of the best photographers we know, and she's out shooting both video and stills tonight with us as we do this beautiful sunset. I mean, look at how gorgeous that is going to be. And later on, doing some star photography. So here's the back of my camera. We've set up so that I put the hoodoo way over on the left side on the third bars. And the only reason I did that is because we have this beautiful sky that is starting to get very pretty. And we're going to use that sky over on the right side to sort of fill in the photograph a little bit. Should be quite lovely. Pretty much standard settings, f11. I'm shooting aperture priority. I've got about my ISO is set at 100, and I'm focusing on the hoodoo. It's been an absolutely beautiful sunset tonight. I moved over here a little bit so that I could capture that beautiful cloud off in the background that's sort of bracketed with grayer clouds. And I'll probably move around a couple more times depending on whether or not we get any more light over there or not, or any more color, I should say. Well, we're getting a little light, nice light behind us here. Wasn't much of a good photograph. It was pretty light, but not much of a photograph. I am sitting down in my chair, kind of now just waiting for the stars to come up and for the clouds to clear away. Hopefully the clouds clear away in the next hour or so. Go time's around about 11 o'clock. And right now we've got a pretty solid cloud bank in the southeast, but it does look like it's dissipating. So hopefully that'll work out.
Well, we're getting set up for some star photography here at the Toadstool Hoodoo. Sean's camera's here in front of me, and you can see the hoodoo there just in the background. And it's about half an hour after sunset right now. We've got about another 2 hours to wait We've taken some blue hour shots to use as our foreground later on if we want to do a composite with a blue hour shot and then the star shots. So that always gives us opportunities if we would like to use them. It's best to have lots of options. We'll also get into doing our star photography. We'll take multiple shots and then be able to blend them together in our software called Starry Landscape Stacker. And that helps reduce our noise because you get a lot more noise when you use the higher ISO settings. It's getting dark. Sean's sitting here in a chair that he brought out, nice little folding chair, so he doesn't have to sit on the ground while we're waiting for the stars to appear. And he looks pretty comfy.
Yep, 2 hours to wait.
2 hours to wait, and he's got a cell phone signal, so he's browsing on his phone.
I thought it would be interesting to show you a raw shot that is what we actually capture in the camera. As you can see, the toadstools in the front are lit up by some lights, and you can see the Milky Way in the background. Now, I did have to lighten this by about 2 stops so that you can see it on the YouTube video. But what you'll notice, it's pretty dull and it's pretty noisy. And pretty much a lot of the processing that Karina and I do is trying to get a lot of the, is to sort of bump up the Milky Way, make it look more interesting, and then try to get some of the noise out of the shot. And when we do that, here are what the shots look like. And here's an example of a partially processed or partially developed photograph. It was taken from the one that you saw just a minute ago. As you can see, the stars, the Milky Way is much, much brighter. A lot of the noise has been removed, and a lot of the stars that were in the background are now much brighter. Now, there's still some noise down in the toadstools, and that way takes some more processing, possibly substituting those toadstools for a shot that we might have taken at blue hour. And here are a few examples that we took that night and have completed the processing. Of course, with any night shot, you're never really finished processing them, and we might process these a great deal more before we actually would put them up on the wall. What did you think of the toadstools?
Oh, I had a lot of fun out at the Toadstool. Doesn't give you a lot of composition options, but it was a really nice evening. Enjoyed all parts of it.
Yeah, Karina's right. For Milky Way, there's sort of the obvious composition. Lots of compositions for sunset, but not many for the Milky Way. But it was a really enjoyable shot. And now we're off to White Pockets, which is in an area surrounded by the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument. White Pockets is a rare national recreation area and a beautiful location for photography. So Karina and I are driving out to White Pocket today. I'm on a road that I call Wirepass Road. I'm not actually sure that's the correct name for it. House Rock Road. Karina tells me House Rock Road. In either case, it is a dirt road. It's quite easily passable by anybody in like a pickup truck or a lifted vehicle. Probably there's a few spots that a sedan might actually have some problems once you get past the Wirepass parking spots. and otherwise it's a pretty good road. It is very susceptible to being washed out, like I'm coming up to right now, a wash that is got pretty good evidence that it's been flooded recently. So you've got to be careful of those. But otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward road. There are a couple different ways to get to White Pocket from House Rock Road. There's sort of the main White Pocket Road, and it does have some pretty deep sand, some washes, and a couple little steps to get into White Pocket. On the whole, it's pretty easily traveled by a four-wheel drive vehicle, and it's not terribly difficult to navigate. Now, there's a second way to go in, which is more of a 4x4 and ATV road. In fact, the signage on the road requires that you actually have a 4x4 or an ATV. It must have four-wheel drive. And I would actually say you really need to have a vehicle that has a bit of a lift on it and really good tires to handle the sand. It is a much more difficult road. It's a lot of fun, but it is a much more difficult road. And you should plan on being able to get yourself or self-recover if you get stuck in the sand. So where are we tonight?
Tonight we are at White Pocket in the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument.
And we're going to be heading out. It's not going to be a very good sunset, but we're going to probably shoot stars tonight again. So another Milky Way shot.
We'll probably set up some cameras and take a few shots just as the sun's going down or after the sun's set, just to get kind of blue hour shots and things like that. So we'll take you along.
And we got about a half-mile walk, so we need to get started. About the walk out to the actual rocks and colored rocks in White Pocket, you do have to walk up a sand hill, and it will take you a little longer than you expect because it's 3 steps forward, 1 step back in the sand. But once you're out on the rocks, it's pretty easy to traverse, and the scenery out there is absolutely gorgeous. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of beautiful locations for taking a photograph, and just walking around is definitely worth the exercise. So Karina and I have found a really pretty spot to do a little sunset photography. What we're going to do is wait until there's just almost all the lights gone on the rock that's on the right-hand side and shoot this beautiful wave going down and around the corner. So that out there on the rock is our new best friend Ari, and he's doing some photography for himself where he's doing photos of him on the big rock out in the distance there. But it gives really nice scale to the photograph. So we've been taking advantage of Ari wanting to go out there and be a model. So it's working out pretty well. It's a beautiful evening. Sun's just gone down behind these rocks over here. Sky has got a few clouds in it. We're wondering if we might get a little color back behind the rocks here, but right now they're just absolutely beautiful. So Karina and I are just finishing up sunset. There's still a little pretty light out on the distance there. We've had a lot of wind today, so there's a lot of sand and dust in the air, and it's giving a little peachy yellowy glow out there. But the light on the big rock here is gone. Ari is still running out there to take shots of himself. So we're just going to pack up from sunset. I might mention that Karina and I were using aperture priority. I was shooting at about f11, f14, something like that, and ISO 100, and of course just letting the camera decide the shutter speed. Also, I was shooting with shooting a couple, about a third of a stop to 2/3 of stop dark. And then I was also using a soft 3-stop and graduated ND filter on the top just to take the edge off the light. Anyway, it was a beautiful evening, and now it's time to pack up and go find our star location. And before we do that, here are some of the photographs we took that beautiful evening. We hope you enjoy them. We had planned to use the tree as our main photography location and had actually set out to do some blue hour shots. It was going to be beautiful, but what we discovered is that there were a series of photographers that were actually up on the ridge behind us, and our camera lights and the lights that we were going to use to light up this tree were going to ruin their shot. So at the last minute, we decided to change and move locations so that we wouldn't be in their way, and this is what we chose. We liked this location partly because it was had the nice bumps on the top of the hill, and it had really cool lines going up the rocks. And what we hoped to be able to do was to line the Milky Way up to center them over the bumps later on in the evening. Now what this meant was that we were going to have to wait for the moon to come up so that we get some lighting on these rocks. Without the moon, they would just simply be black and really you would be unable to see any of the cracks and lines. So that meant that we were going to be here until 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning when the moon just crusted over the hill. Now, Karina and I like to use photo pills to figure out where the Milky Way is going to be relative to our location. And I will frequently take a series of photographs over time to watch the Milky Way move from east to west. It's in the southern sky in our particular area, but it moves from the southeastern part of the sky to the southwestern part of the sky. And as it does that, it tends to go from being curved to standing straight up. So I will take these photographs of the Milky Way on photo pills so that I know where it will be located as the evening goes on. And if I have to adjust my shooting location and or composition, I kind of have an idea of what that's going to look like before I have to make changes. Once you know that, you know your compositions, you might want to take some blue hour shots, but otherwise it's a matter of just settling in for the evening and getting comfortable, and then waiting for the Milky Way to do its thing. Here are a few photographs that we took that evening. We hope you enjoyed them. And we were up early the next morning to go out and do some morning aerial shots. So one of the great things about the White Pocket is that it is legal to fly your drone. You will find that there are lots of other people out there flying drones as well, and you do need to be a little bit careful of the number of aircraft in the air. But it was fun, and here are some of the shots that we took. We hope you enjoy them.
And I enjoyed our sunset location for White Pocket, and the Milky Way was okay.
Yeah, it was I think we got an okay shot tonight. I think the Toadstool shot was a lot better. But, you know, it was a nice spot. It was nice to visit, nice to come out camping. And the only thing I don't like about it is getting back to camp about 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're a little bush today.
Yeah, and then it's pretty warm here at this time of year when you want to get the Milky Way. And so breaking down camp, if it's complicated, you get hot.
Yeah, yeah, you really can't help that.
Well, that about wraps up our session here. So if you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up.
And we also appreciate it if you would subscribe and hit that little bell button down there so that you'll be notified when we release videos.
And if you would like to leave us some questions, comments, thoughts, we really enjoy hearing from you. We try to respond to all the comments as promptly as possible. And if you would like to share anything, we're game to hear about it.
And until next time, bye for now.
Bye for now.